You know you have this. You know you have a basket full of scrap pieces of resin, failed pieces, practice pieces, the oh my God, what was I thinking pieces. You know you have these. Rather than throw them away, why not use them inside of a resin mold to fill the cavity? Helps to fill the gap so you use less resin and you make a pretty cool piece of art too.
So there really is not anything special to say about this technique. You are literally taking resin scraps and filling your mold with it. So this first heart that I'm using, this is an N2 resin mold. It's a pendant mold, and I'm snipping off the top loop because I don't want that inside of the turtle. And I probably could have left it on there, but this particular mold for me, this pour was a total fail. And it's not the fault of the mold, it's just my fault for not really knowing what I was doing at the time. And it's ugly. I mean, it's not really pretty, but I can use it for this turtle. Now, the turtle, I already have a little bit of resin poured in the head, and I let that cure. And then there is a little bit of, like, I don't know, residual resin in the mold that I didn't clean it out all the way, and that is fine too. So the resin I'm using to pour inside is the Let's Resin Fast Cure, and I'm just pouring it straight in the mold. In hindsight, I probably should have put my other resin pieces inside the mold first, because I did end up putting a little bit too much resin inside of the mold. And so when I put my other resin pieces in it, I ended up having to scoop some of the resin out to because it was just overfilling and it was making a great big mess. And actually, I ended up making a great big mess with this anyway. Um, so I am just using really not any particular color scheme. I'm just kind of grabbing a bunch of random pieces, and I'm trying to put some of the pieces inside of the back flippers. But I remember the last time I did that, I ended up having some sharp edges that I was having to sand off. So here I am scooping out some of the resin with my silicone spoon. And let me tell you, this resin is really, really thick. Once you mix it, it is thick like house knot. So it stays put. It's meant for a deeper pour. It is not meant as a fast cure for like a wine glass or a tumbler or like canvas. It needs a deeper quantity in order for it to get the thermal reaction that it needs in order for it to cure as a fast cure, if that makes sense. So lesson on this is put your bits into your mold first and then put your resin on top of all of your bits. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because what I'm doing here created it I didn't create a mess. I just had resin kind of seeping into, like, the little side piece of that mold, um, that right there, and then I did end up scooping out, some of the resin pieces. Now, the pieces that I'm using, they're not ugly. um I was just experimenting with this was God, some of these pieces are from ages ago. I was just making like little resin jewelry bits, and then I stopped making little resin jewelry bits. But I felt like I didn't really want to throw them away, even though I wasn't selling jewelry. I didn't want to throw them away because, lo and behold, I'm using them for this. So save all of those little resin scraps. Save them, because you never know when you might need them for a turtle or an octopus or a coaster, or, any big mold that has a lot of space. You just never know. And so now I'm going to give it a little squish at the back to make sure I get all the air bubbles out of the tail, because I have been having trouble with the tail not fully forming, and that is totally my fault. I want to give the head a little squish, and I want to give the middle a little squish just to make sure I get all of the big air bubbles out. And now basically we wait.
All right, let's get this turtle demolded. I overfilled a little bit. I think I need to start wearing my reading glasses when I fill these up because it's been hard to see. These are just hard, period, to fill. I'm really hoping I get his tail this time. Oh my gosh. Yes! I have tail. Well, that didn't sound good. So it leaked on the side piece there, like the little overflow. I'm gonna have to pop that out. What the heck, man? But at least I got his tail. God, it overfilled. And you know what I didn't do? I forgot to put it up on my leveling table, so it just went all cattywampus. There we go. That popped out. I'm gonna save that for later. So it's a little bit uneven. I mean, it seemed like I overfilled. I did overfill it. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I think it's better to overfill than underfill because if you underfill, the resin sort of makes a ridge on the turtle and you have more cleanup. So this is actually not bad at all. I got a new deburring tool that I will link to in the description. These are super cheap on Amazon. I think I paid, what, $9 for it? And then that way, I'm gonna have to learn how to use it though, but it makes it nice and smooth. So you can get all these little rough edges off without cutting yourself and without scratching your piece. So this was a fun little project, and I like using all my leftover pieces, like my fails and, you know, practice pieces, because I can fill up the mold and not use so much resin, and that's just a win-win for me. Just be careful not to scratch, because you can scratch your piece, just like I did right there. Okay, so you ready? It's kind of quirky, but I'm just so glad I got his tail finally. So he has a heart. He's a turtle with a heart. So this was just a grab bag of pieces, but kind of cute. And you could almost back coat it. I could could put maybe just a really thin layer. Maybe I might do that. You know, I've never tried that, just putting a thin layer on the back because I did scratch it just a little bit with my deburring tool. I'm going to put a really thin layer on the back. I'm going to use my Let's Resin curing light. And then not that it needs to be a color, but I'm going to use the Light Wish Glow in the Dark UV resin, and I'm not using it because it's glow in the dark or because it's white. And I'm going to put gloves on because this stuff is sticky, but I have it, it's handy, I want to use it, so be it. So I'm just going to add a really thin layer. And that's going to take away all the scratches too. And I'm putting on such a thin layer, you're not even going to see the white, but it is going to kind of give it a little bit of a kind of a soft matte haze almost. But it's such a thin layer, it's not running at all. There we go. Kind of gives it a frosted look. I kind of like that. Okay. So, and there we go. Honestly, the most exciting part of this whole turtle is the tail. I finally got the tail right. Almost right. But yeah, this will be fine. It just gives it a nice finished look. I covered up all my scratches. It's sort of a smoky, I don't know, it's giving it a really sea glass frosted look. So there's my next turtle going in my show. Now, probably would just stick this out in the sunlight. It'll, number one, it'll charge it up. Oh, that'll be interesting, won't it? That's going to be interesting. So I use the glow in the dark. So I wonder if I charge it up in the sun, it's going to cure, but then I wonder if it would charge it up enough. So I like it. Should I add, I think I'm going to add some eyes. I think I'm going to add some eyes. I don't know. I'm going to add some green eyes. You get my light again. Just a dot. I honestly, I prefer doing this with the eyes rather than trying to fit the little tiny marbles and eyes inside of the mold because I can never find the eye sockets. So I'd rather do this. All right, that is it. He is finished, other than I'm going to stick this outside to fully cure, and I'm going to consider him done. So, make it a crafty day, friends. Bye. Bye.